Today we're building a complicated high-density neighborhood on a giant hill. We'll focus it around this regional train station and build a triangle park in front of it to kind of make it look amazing. I'll use the apartment buildings from the Chinese pack and integrate it with much of the French wall-to-wall buildings. And that'll just tie it into what we've been using to create our superblocks throughout the city. And I'm custom building the city's first outdoor restaurant district, a detailed park area that will be an entertainment hotspot in Bridgewater. Finally, we'll finish it up with some major landscaping and city services. Let's go! In the last episode, I laid down the bones of a passenger rail network, and one piece of that was this French train station, which I think looks stunning. And today we're basically building an entire neighborhood around this station as the anchor. This station will be able to move huge numbers of people around the city and to neighboring cities, so we're packing a lot of density into this area. But I didn't just want the station to get lost in the surrounding buildings, so we're doing something special. I'm using these horizontal pillars to create a grand staircase in front of the station. And then I'll use invisible pedestrian paths to make sure our Sims can actually walk up and down it. And that stairway is going to lead down to a large custom triangular park in the center of all this new housing. Remember, Bridgewater is a city made up of superblocks. And what is a superblock? It's a large urban area that combines several traditional city blocks into a larger unit. And that larger unit has green space at its heart, at least it does in this build. And the goal of that is to prioritize pedestrians in the city and to kind of push the cars onto roads on the outside of the superblock. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. So here I'm continuing a pattern that I laid out all the way back in episode 1, I think, where we have this long and narrow strip of land next to this major arterial, next to the railway and the subway line, where we're going to be putting down some of the highest density in the city. And the reason I had to do this in the beginning was the game is just insatiable for its high density, right? It has so much demand for high density. It didn't really fit in the city of superblocks, but I had to come up with a creative solution. So this corridor is where we're satisfying that demand. And it kind of works actually, because it makes sense, right? You'd have all these taller towers along the main arterial where it's noisier. Maybe this is a lower income housing, and it can actually just handle more people living in this area because it's closer to the transit of the subway. It's close now to this train station, and it's close to the major road. So, and that road is running right through the town at the moment. So it's probably gonna get pretty packed eventually as we build out this area. So after I built that grand staircase leading down from the French train station, I realized that I needed that to go somewhere. And it wasn't really working out to continue the old pattern from the rest of the city where you have a park in between surrounding 8 other blocks of housing. So I thought, okay, well, let's just turn this whole triangular area into a massive park and do it custom. And so I'm trying to link up as many pedestrian paths as I can to places that I think people would want to go, especially connecting to that train station there. And you're gonna see later in the episode that these paths are incredibly well used. There's a whole ton of foot traffic. And later you're gonna see that we're actually going to build some overpasses that go over the train tracks and lead up to the neighborhood that we're gonna build on the hill. And so this place gets ridiculously busy with pedestrian traffic. I can't wait for you to see it. So now we come to the main event, building a wild neighborhood on top of this very steep hill. And I'm using some of these not so new keys to create the first tier behind the train station. I think the massive brick wall behind the rails looks really good. Plus this road here is going to serve as one of the main collectors through the neighborhood. And of course I had to get another telecoms tower in here because hey, it's the top of a hill, and I think that's what they do in real life. Plus the city is hurting, it's really hurting for telecoms access. And so we had to put that as the sort of centerpiece for the new neighborhood. We're gonna start building everything around that. I thought I'd take a quick opportunity to put in this little cul-de-sac park here. It's gonna turn out really well. Ooh, I'm really excited for this part. I was thinking that our citizens are so amazing. They need a place to go and eat some good meals. So we're gonna turn this kind of weirdly awkward shaped piece of land into a park, but it's also going to have a custom dining area. And so on one side of the street, the top side of that middle street there, we're gonna have a lot of restaurants. And on the other side, we're gonna do a nice terrace dining area. And so each of the restaurants is gonna have a kind of patio of their own, a place for the patrons to sit, watch the ships go by, watch the beautiful scenery, and maybe go for a walk after dinner. And I just absolutely love the way it turns out. I hope you do too. So give it a watch. So we're nearing the end of the episode and there's just a few more pockets of land to fill in, but I didn't want to just fire in a bunch of residential and call it a day. No, because there's some important things that we're missing in this build. Elementary. This game is a voracious for elementary schools. Like, we just can't keep up with the pace, and I think we're probably not providing enough spaces right now for students. So we're gonna add another elementary school here and another one on the other side. You can see here I'm putting in some death care. People are starting to complain. The bodies are starting to pile up, so we've got to keep on top of that as well, because we know that untended dead people can really kill a city. Haha, no pun intended. What else? We're gonna add a community pool in here because we need park space, right? It's kind of hard to jam in some park space in this build because of the hill, but I think this would be a great spot to have a community pool. So there it is. And what else? We're gonna put in another our first welfare office, one from the Chinese pack. You'll see that a little bit later in the episode. We're doing very poorly on welfare for our citizens, and I think you can see that in the homeless people starting to set up camp in our parks very quickly. So I'm gonna have to give some thought going forward to getting a welfare office in there. We have a lot of different welfare options now with the different expansion packs, and so it's really cool that we can stick in something that's not as huge as the OG welfare office. So we're gonna do that in this build. Slowly, but it's all coming together. And we're gonna end with tying it all together with some detailing, some paths, and make sure that it's very pedestrian accessible. Oh no! So we've developed some power problems, and the main thing is we have a bottleneck there on that road. And so the problem is one of my own creating. I think in a previous episode I demolished a substation to make way for the rails that I put through the middle of the city, and thinking that, hey, I just won't need it, you know, because we have so many roads connecting our power plants. But apparently we do not. So as a temporary measure, a very kind of, you know, ugly maybe measure, I'm running this new high capacity power line underneath the ground, which is kind of a cool feature in the game. I kind of just stumbled upon that feature by accident. I didn't know you could do that. But you can put those tall, high voltage power lines underground, which is pretty cool. So in this case, it was the quickest fix. So we're just making it simple and continuing on with the episode. And here we're putting in a new Chinese community kindergarten, which I think looks incredible. What a beautiful asset that came with the Chinese pack. And this is the welfare building I was talking about earlier. Now, I have since learned that it barely provides any real welfare service. It's a very small building, and that's kind of what you'd expect with like they call it community kindergarten. I think it's probably like a daycare center. But so, you know, it's at least providing some welfare services in the city. But I can tell that in a future episode, we're gonna have to get much more drastic and add some bigger buildings that's gonna deal with welfare. Otherwise, our parks are gonna be full of homeless people. I think also the city is sitting at like 19% unemployment. So that's definitely a factor we're gonna have to look at in the coming episodes. And I know that by the time I'm recording this, the port expansion pack will be out. And so I'm sure there's gonna be lots we wanna do with that. And maybe we can create some jobs with those ports. I debated what to put in this little pocket of land here, but I didn't debate long because for me it just made perfect sense to put in another park. It's an oddly shaped area on a very steep hill, so I'm not gonna futz with putting in more residential or commercial or something like that. I thought, you know what, let's just give the people what they want, which is an extra bit of park space. It's not exactly a functional park. I kind of wish that we had, maybe we do it, I just don't know how to use it, but I kind of wish we had like paintable park areas, kind of like we had in the first City Skylines with the Park Life add-on. But at this point, it's just aesthetic and we're making it look cool, and we're gonna fire in some paths and trees and do some landscaping. And yeah, just make it look like there's some places to hang out in this city. Well, how do you think it turned out? And what do you want to see next in this city? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you want to support more content like this, you can visit my Patreon site. There you can get the save game for every episode of the city, Bridgewater. And that way you can explore every last detail on your own. Thank you to everyone who has supported me with a like, a follow, or more over the years. It's this kind of support that makes these videos possible. I'll leave you with some cinematics, and we'll see you in the next episode.